Roughly speaking, the number of approvals every month is about 13,000. 13,000 approvals across Australia every month isn't going to deliver you 1.2 million. In fact, it's going to deliver you about half of that. So we need to double the number of approvals if we're going to achieve we need 20,000 completed homes every single month from July the 1st for the next 5 years. 13,000 approvals doesn't go close to delivering that.
Your pre-budget submission points out that the states have been doing their bit with reforms to planning laws. Is it your view the target simply can't be met without considerable extra support from the federal government?
I think it's time that the federal government really put its shoulder to the wheel and started contributing significantly through the budget to the housing task. I mean, the Housing Accord was a federal government initiative. Anthony Albanese brought the state premiers together, correctly set the view that we need to have more houses, given that he also wanted to increase the population with big hikes in immigration. That's happened, but we haven't had any support in terms of funding for state infrastructure, funding for roads, funding for water and sewage systems. That's the sort of city-making infrastructure that helps the states deliver housing supply.
You are also calling for tax concessions for developers, considering that house prices are near an all-time high and we are experiencing a housing crisis. Shouldn't that be enough of an incentive for your members to build and sell at a profit without further taxpayer support?
It's a complicated situation where you have different factors pushing in different directions. We obviously have interest rates going up, which makes it more difficult for consumers, and it also means holding costs are higher for the property development and construction sector. We have record numbers of builders going broke. ASIC will report that there are thousands of builders actually going broke at this period. That's really the main point. There's two problems here. We have prices going up and we also have labour supply shortages. Ironically, with all those new immigrants coming in, the federal government didn't prioritise skilled building trades. That's something that needs to be immediately rectified. So we say, if we have got builders going broke, that's not going to help us with a housing supply crisis. Some tax concession would help those builders continue to build and make significant inroads into those targets.
The government has introduced legislation into Parliament today to increase the incentive for foreign investment in build-to-rent projects. Will that significantly support the delivery of new homes?
The changes that have been made will assist with the housing supply targets, but build-to-rent is still a bit of a niche market. It's something that really hasn't taken off in the way that some had predicted. It was said to be bringing in institutional capital both in Australia with the super funds as well as international funding. There's been a little bit of that, and particularly where the feasibilities stack up, in parts of Melbourne and in Brisbane, it's been quite well adopted. Not so much in the Sydney market and not really in the other states and regional communities. So I say, yes, it's an important contributor, but it's only one small part of the bigger picture, and we need to see all of the parts of the picture working together if we're going to achieve these targets.
You talked about the challenges facing builders. We know that they have had enormous problems with inflation, liquidity. There have been plenty of collapses, including just this week. Say the settings are right. Is the construction sector strong enough to support the federal government's target?
Right now, I would say no. One of the things we need to do is encourage people back into the sector who have perhaps left during the COVID period but still have skills and something to offer. We need to bring skilled migrants in who are people who have engineering expertise, who have the labourers who do the concrete fixing, who do all of the different finishing trades, which there is such a shortage of right across the country. They are the things that are driving the costs up. The federal government has a role to play in bringing in those specialist skilled trades that can help us through this. We've got 5 years to achieve the Housing Accord target. We don't have to hit it all in the first year, but unless we start fixing things in this year's budget, it's going to be very hard indeed.
Tom Forrest, thank you.
Thank you.